Hey guys, let's get more news about Warriors, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Before posterizing Victor Wembanyama, Tracy Jackson Davis called his shot. In front of the Warriors bench, Lester Quinones crossed his arms over his chest and collapsed backward. The Golden State bench guard, for a moment, was a thespian playing the role of a bystander to a shocking, violent crime. The misdemeanor that caused Quinones to pantomime fainting, Tracy Jackson Davis adding Victor Wembanyama to his growing dunk body count. Man, that was just a natural reaction, he dunked on someone 9 feet tall, Quinones said from his locker post-game. To dunk over Wembanyama, the 7'4" rookie phenom with a 9'7" standing reach, Jackson Davis needed to keep the French center on his hip as he drove left, lift off as high as he could, and spike the ball into the cylinder through a mid-air collision. When he peeled himself off the hardwood in front of Golden State's bench, he chest-bumped Draymond Green and hyped up his hysterical teammates. He challenged Wembanyama at the rim, obviously one of the great shot blockers in the game, Green said. Incredible shot blocker. Tracy isn't backing down. His athleticism, taking it right through his chest. Incredible play. And to own it, to get up like he meant it. I think that was a huge, huge play for us to keep the momentum and close out the game. The impossible poster stamped Golden State's 112-102 win over the Spurs, their first of the year without Steph Curry. In it, Jackson Davis continued his rookie breakout, notching his 5th double-double, 6th most among rookies, and baking some French toast. That's 2 guys about as high as humanly possible, Steve Kerr said post-game. That's what NBA fans come to see, feats like that. It just doesn't seem human. Roughly an hour before Jackson Davis induced Quinones into a fake coma, the two were chatting on the bench. Jackson Davis had just forced Wembanyama to miss at the rim. The Warrior center wanted more. He's like, "I'ma get him," Quinones said. I was like, all right, we're gonna see. Then he did it. At the time, Quinones had a little faith in him. Jackson Davis has been a skywalking revelation for Golden State, routinely finishing alley-oop and put-back dunks. In early February, the 57th overall pick caught a body in Atlanta when he dunked over center Onyeka Okongwu, his favorite flush of the year, at least until Monday. But Wembanyama? That's a different beast. As a rookie, the former first overall pick is leading the NBA in blocks per game. On shots he contests within 6 feet of the hoop, Wembanyama allows a 54.3% field goal percentage, on par with Giannis Antetokounmpo and Brook Lopez. But Jackson Davis always knew he could rise up with Wembanyama. Even before the game, he already knew he was up for the challenge. This is the same guy who blocked Antetokounmpo twice last week, after all. I told Loon before the game that if I got the chance to try him, I would, Jackson Davis said. At the end of the day, sometimes you dunk on people, sometimes you get dunked on. It's just a basketball play. At the time he revealed that interaction post-game, Jackson Davis hadn't yet seen the replay, which instantly went viral. If he had, he'd surely know that was much more than just a basketball play. It was insane, Looney said. Incredible play like that, just put a punctuation on the game. Close it out. It was a dope play. It's going to be on his career tape for a long time. Jackson Davis' jam came with 1:13 left in the game and put Golden State up an insurmountable 11 points. It sucked the life out of Frost Bank Center, Podziemski said, and put Jackson Davis in front of a national audience on social media. Wembanyama is only 20 years old, but in terms of dunk victims, he's already somewhat of a final boss. If Jackson Davis can put Wembanyama on a poster, is there be anyone he couldn't dunk on? A few lockers down from Looney, Podziemski threw out Manu Bol, the 7'7" center who played in the 80s and 90s. Looney went a different direction. The only one he ain't gonna dunk on is Draymond, Looney said. Yet even Green, one of the best defenders of this generation who has been teaching an advanced course on NBA defense to Jackson Davis, isn't safe. "He ain't got me yet, but it's just a matter of time," Green said. "You know, it's a matter of opportunity, but I don't doubt that he can." CP3, Wiggs come through for Warriors in aggressive outing versus Spurs. Backup Warriors point guard Chris Paul is a well-known master of the pick-and-roll, but when that didn't work out well in a gut-punch loss to the San Antonio Spurs on Saturday, the 12-time NBA All-Star opted to go in a different direction in the rematch on Monday. He took Andrew Wiggins down the same path with him, and the duo came through nicely in a much-needed 112-102 victory over the Spurs at Frost Bank Center that helped the Warriors keep pace in the crowded Western Conference. Making his second consecutive start in place of injured star Stephen Curry, Paul dropped a cool 19 points on the Spurs on 9 of 19 shooting to go with a season-high 9 rebounds and 8 assists in what arguably was his best all-around game of the season. Wiggins, also back in the starting rotation, had his best game in more than 2 weeks with 16 points and 4 assists. The two provided the Warriors with a big offensive spark that had been noticeably missing since Curry went out with a right ankle injury. "I told Wiggs before the game that me and him needed to be more aggressive," Paul told reporters in San Antonio. "I've been coming off all these picks and rolls looking to pass every time. I missed a bunch of shots I should have made tonight, but I told Tracy, Jackson Davis, any time we get the ball he should be looking to set a screen. Our team is a lot different when Steph is out here playing. When he's out, we have to figure things out." For the first time in 5 games without Curry this season, the Warriors were able to do just that. Golden State overcame a ho-hum first quarter, took control with much better defense in the second and third periods, then held on for the win that was punctuated by a phenomenal dunk by Jackson Davis over Victor Wembanyama, the number 1 overall pick in the 2023 NBA Draft. Even before that monumental jam by the Golden State rookie, the Warriors were playing much better and more crisply than they had during Saturday's loss at Chase Center to the same Spurs team. Paul obviously was a big reason why. He controlled the game, got us organized down the stretch when the Spurs were threatening. Hit a bunch of shots, distributed the ball, rebounded. "He did everything," Warriors coach Steve Kerr said. "There's a reason he's going to the Hall of Fame. He's one of the greatest point guards ever, and he's still got a lot left." Following the loss to the Spurs on Saturday, Kerr challenged his team to play with better energy and spirit for Monday's game. Paul and Wiggins seemed to adhere to the plan nicely. Paul also came up big in the leadership department, helping to fill the void created when Curry got hurt. "He's really a coach out there," Jackson Davis said. "He tells you exactly what you need to do, where you need to be. He's a great teammate. He's really, really fun to play with." That's certainly nothing new. When Paul missed 21 games earlier this season with a fractured left hand that required surgery, he was a constant presence on the Warriors bench. Seemingly in every game, he would routinely offer tips and advice to players when they came out of games, and he was just as vocal while the game was going on, barking out directions and putting his teammates into the proper positions. "You should be worried if I ain't saying nothing to you," Paul joked with the Warriors' post-game live crew. "But seriously, I'm just constantly trying to teach, and play, and compete at the same time." Former NBA star blasts Warriors for controversial decision. During a recent episode of Gil's Arena, former NBA star and Memphis Grizzlies guard Gilbert Arenas called out the Golden State Warriors for their controversial decision to leave Boston Celtics star Jaylen Brown open. "Ben Simmons makes sense," Arenas said. "There's certain players you're supposed to do that to. Not the guy who makes $300 million. There's only a few players on certain teams. There's not a lot of those guys out there, so you have to really pick and choose." Brown of course got hot, and the Celtics blew out the Warriors in Boston. Golden State has been scuffling a bit since that game, as they haven't gotten all the way back on track. When asked about the strategy on Brown, Warriors head coach Steve Kerr said, "You try different things, you have to pick your matchups. We wanted Draymond Green to be able to help on drives and make sure that we weren't giving up easy stuff in the paint. The killer was the transition from the beginning all the way to the end. They got 42 transition points. You're not winning a game with that kind of defensive or lack of defensive awareness." Arenas clearly disagrees with Golden State's head coach and blasted the decision to leave somebody of Brown's caliber open from three-point range. And you, fan, what do you think of the situation? Gilbert Arenas? Leave your opinion in the comments.